That white one with the black circle and 5 diagonal lines in the middle.
Yeah?
What does that mean again?
It now means that you should drive 60 kilometres an hour or slower.
Ah, OK. This sign on local and rural roads means drive at 60 kilometres an hour or below and always according to the road and weather conditions. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is... The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Check this.
Welcome one and all to the DL Debate, beaming out from the famous Mountaintop Studios here in Letterkenny. To my left is the great man, the tech wizard himself, Joe Dex here producing the show. I just want to thank the legend that is Ivan Boyle for the Power Plus, and of course Donald Cabinet for the news. On this evening's show, shortly we'll hear from 92 hero and a hero of my own, the one and only Tony Boyle, Kerry legend and sharpshooter Mike Frank Russell, the man that has a pocket full of medals, will be joining us as well to give us their views on the weekend's action. Big 2 points game for Donegal away from home in Kerry. Great start to the league for Donegal. We're going to hear from the two lads and speak a bit as well about the new rules coming in. Of course, the Armagh, the All-Ireland champions, coming to town on Saturday up to Ballybofey. Then we'll speak to two of our men in the middle, two of our main men, our national refs, Enda McFeely and Mark Dorrian. Fascinated to get their views on the new rules and what's it like for them on these open couple of matches. Just from the weekend, it was heartbreak for Happy VS, coming up short by 1 point against St Pat's Maharan in the final. What an achievement it is to get through to there. Savage stuff. You look at all those big colleges, and particularly the ones that dominate in the north, and the amount of teams that push into it. Of course, this team only had 3 clubs, and most of that was by the 4 Masters men. So huge achievement. 3 points up at half time. They conceded the first 7 points of the second half, which was very unusual, and still fought back. Only lost the game by a point, but brilliant season from the lads there. Our ladies, they had their first victory of the season. A late goal bringing them through in that one. Roisin Rogers, who got the late equaliser in their opening game, actually away to Clare. They drew the next one to Westmeath. They were point down to Monaghan with time ticking, and up she popped in the back of the net. Good way to win a game, and good stuff for them all. James Daly, of course, was on the show last week talking to him. Our hurlers put up a very brave performance away to the men of Down in Division 2. Went down 3-17 to 17 points, but a very spirited performance against a really top downside there in Division 2 after a brilliant one against against Tyrone last week. It is Kerry who are up next. Now, I said at the start of the show, we're going to look back at the weekend's action, and Donegal went to the Kingdom of Kerry. I'm now joined by Tony Boyle and Mike Frank Russell. How are you, lads?
Evening, Benny.
Are you here? Are you there, Franny? You're on mute there, kid, are you? We'll get him talking here now, Tony, in a second. Hey, he's usually
Can you hear me, Brendan?
Oh, there you are, Mike Frank. Good man.
Hi.
You're
How are
on.
you?
You're on, lad. Good to hear from you, lad. Thanks very much for joining us. Tony, I'll start with you, Tony. Many's the time we went down to Kerry, maybe not thinking a lot will be gained. 37 years since a won in Killarney was a huge couple of points for Donegal.
Yeah, absolutely, Benny. To not have won down in Kerry since 1988, it's an amazing stat in one sense. But I remember being down in plenty of league games, and we never could get a victory down there. So from that point of view, plus throwing the fact that you lost Michael Langan after 3 minutes, your most recognised midfielder since Jason McGee's still out injured. It was a massive performance and a massive 2 points, and sets Jim and the boys up really, really well for the next remaining, the number of games left. You have 4 points in the bag already, and you can nearly pick and choose now the games that you want to go full tilt at, and maybe other games then you want to try and bring in a couple of newcomers like young Murphy and boys like that. So all looking good so far. Yeah, first class. Mike Frank, it's not just us that has a bad record in Kerry. I presume those very, very rare you lads were beaten by anybody in Kerry, right?
I don't know, but yeah, I actually didn't realise it was 37 years. That's a big stat, yeah. But no, hats off to Donegal. Fully deserved the victory on Saturday. Probably should have won the game by a bit more, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Donegal are going well there, as Tony said. It 2 wins from two. They look to be a bit further ahead than some teams, maybe in fitness wise and things like that at the moment, which is fair enough. But look, I suppose it depends on which. What are the managers looking for out of the league? I know Kerry Jack has got a bit of pressure put on him last year to try out some new younger players, and he's trying to do that. And it's trying to keep happy medium and at the same time trying to pick up points. But at the same time, going back to Kerry's record, no, Kerry won't be happy losing at home to anybody. So yeah, a big game now against Dublin at home this Saturday night in Tralee. So have to be picking up points there.
Yeah, of course you had that smash and grab in Derry, Mike Frank. It wasn't too bad. Mike, tell me, just, obviously big talk about David Clifford not being there, but, the Derry game, I think he started just with half the seven, the team that started the All-Ireland semi the year before. Is there lads being rested, or has it been forced around injuries, or is it just, as you said, Jack needs to trial some players?
I think with David Clifford's situation, like he's been on the go with 2-3 years full time going around with the club. They've had big runs, so I think that was always on the cards that he was going to get an extended break. But possibly it was until after the Dublin game. But we may see him back on the bench now at the weekend. But it looks Kerry have to look. David Clifford, they're looking at other forwards. Donald Sullivan has put his hands up there. Look, it's like the same with the two O'Donnells there in Donegal. There's a few players that I think, in fairness, Jack has given them a run in the league, which I think is important. So see what they can do and put their hands up. But it'll be interesting now to see, will he stick with some of the younger lads, or will Clifford be parachuted in for the Dublin game on the bench maybe?
Definitely. Yeah, I thought Conor Guinea has really put his hand up as well. My Frank, he looks a decent talent. Yeah, Big O'Sullivan probably had more of an impact maybe in Derry the last day, but again, a huge man. Jim O'Connor's absolutely flying, as is Foley at the back there as well. Tag Morley taking off after 30 minutes. They're saying he's picked up an injury, but it'll be interesting to see how, I suppose the thing with the league, it's such a short season now as well. If a fella gets injured, you could be out for 2-3 games, and a fella comes in and is putting up his hands. So there's very little room for error because it's a very quick season. So a fella that picks up for a hamstring injury now or something like that can find himself behind in fitness. So it's fairly cutthroat like that. But yeah, going back to the two Guineas, they would have been on the panel last year, so they're getting a good run at it now. So hopefully they can drive forward. Young O'Sullivan wasn't in the panel last year, so I think, lads, it's very rare now where a fella is going to come in straight away and make a massive impact. A lot of them could be on a training panel for a year before they step up into county. And Tony, the change now, there's so many changes even outside the rules, but even that starting 15, you see the pressure that's on them, and really no more than Jamie Brennan. McBurdy did it the last day. They came on and they just wore that difference, the freshness, because bodies are starting to, fatigue because there is so much up and down the pitch.
Yeah, to be fair, and listen, Jim probably has a good body of work done over this last 14, 16 months. Vinny, as everyone knows, fitness is a big part of Jim's game. He wants everyone really, really at the top of their fitness, and I think both Desi Farrell and Jack O'Connor had stated that Donegal seemed to be a wee bit ahead of maybe where both them teams are. But I suppose, listen, the impressive thing, as I said, we lost Michael Langan and Darrell Wheeler kicked 6 points previous week against Dublin. Probably had a quieter game, but then you had Ryan stepped up, who was probably that wee bit quieter against Dublin, and he kicks in with 5 points. Conor O'Donnell kicks 3, and Jimmy Brennan comes off the bench and kicks 2. So listen, there's a nice spread of scores coming across the team, and you're not depending as much as maybe 7-8 years ago when you're depending on Paddy McBurty to kick maybe 70-80% of the scores, and that's probably down to the new rules where there's a wee bit more space up top where you can't get, you have to keep the 3 up the field, and there is that wee bit more space for defenders coming up that can kick a score, but also for the forwards to find that pocket of space. So it's been really impressive by Donegal. I think, what did we kick, 21 against Dublin, 23 against 23 against Kerry, I know we had 3 2-pointers, but it's still 20 scores. And any day you go out kick 20 scores, you'd be hoping to take back a victory. So it's it all bodes well for the next number of weeks, for the next number of games in Division 1.
Yeah, scoring's definitely gone up. Mike O'Connor actually referenced that point that Donegal had 3 2-pointers. They only had 1 in the game. I think it was Sean O'Shea got it. Mike, some of the outcomes of the rules we've not has probably taken us by surprise a bit, particularly the fight round the middle for the kick out there. And then you have the scenario where the ball's not going in direct because each team is filtering back. Like Donegal had really well set up defence in terms of their structure. So when Kerry got the ball, Donegal were straight back in, formed their line across the arc. Now the only thing is because there's 3 less players or 6 in total, you'll always get a bit of angle to get in and around it eventually. But certainly the direct ball in an advanced mark isn't really something that's in the game in these opening few matches anyway.
No, I think, and Donegal, to be fair, they were very good at defending the arc the last day. They were watching Sean O'Shea and these boys for 2-pointers, which they did fairly well against Derry. But I think as the weeks go on and the ground hardens up and the pace gets up, I think Kerry need to be moving that ball faster, moving it quicker to get that ball in. Whereas I think Donegal were moving at their pace of their play the last day. They were coming from all angles. They were just pacier and they were just moving it quicker. I think for Kerry to make sunshine hay there, they'll have to get that ball in quicker. But if in the end they started slowing it down, but maybe that's going to come with fitness and things like that. It'll definitely be something to work on because Sean O'Shea is well able to kick 2-pointers. Diarmuid O'Connor and all these guys to get him on the ball.
Are you surprised at that outcome, Tony? Let's take us back to your heyday there. The blonde locks are flowing. You're coming flying out from the full forward line, taking that ball. You're not going to kick the ball now. We thought it was going to be back. Oisín Gallen seems to be really well marshalled, but the ball's not really coming in. The only way you can get it is come out and around in the loop that Conor O'Donnell did to good effect in the game. So what do you think, Tony? Is that looks like that side of the game we thought was coming back, the kicking? Because I remember it's in the first half where Kerry were on the break. There was a potential ball inside. They went to go on with it, and Ryan McHugh had filtered back and got his hand to it. So you're kind of like the risk is not worth it because if you work it up the pitch, more likely you will get a shot away anyway.
Yeah, I don't think we haven't seen much of it in the first 2 rounds nationally, but I think it's, as Mike Frank says, when the pitches get that wee bit higher and you can turn over the ball and you can move the ball that wee bit faster. I think it will become a part of the game, Benny. But I think it's probably because teams over this last 5, 6, 7 years are so programmed not to give the ball away that's probably still in their mindset that the risk reward is it as big as they think when it's 3v3 inside. I think it will. I think teams will target, whether I'm still hoping that's where Michael will end up at the edge of the square and we start targeting balls. But I suppose the big example of it was the Roscommon Down match where Down got blocked down in an attack and 2 kicks later the ball was in the back of the net. That quick transition, I still think it will be a part of the game, but I think it's part of it because county teams are as I said, so programmed not to give the ball away. They're still playing cautious. A lot of teams are still trying to find their way. I think that a lot of them have mastered the 2-point and the 2-pointer is a big score. You can see a game can drift away from you in 3 kicks. I think it was the Armagh Galway game in the first round where Galway kicked 3 2-pointers in a row and a 1-point game became a 7-point game, and all of a sudden the game can drift away from you. So I think maybe at the minute teams are concentrating because if you can get 2 or 3 2-pointers rather than kicking the ball, forcing a goal for a 3-pointer, it's a wee bit more beneficial. But I would hope that as the ground gets a wee bit harder and you can move that ball a wee bit longer, that we will see that one-to-one battle in around the edge of the square that we seen maybe 30 years ago.
Yes, indeed, Tony. Good memories, boy. Good memories. Mike Frank, I see that fitness you're on about the Donegal. I'm thinking if I was from outside the county, if I was looking at Shane O'Donnell, for example, Darrow Boyle, Kieran Moore, fellas like that, Patter Mogan, like the sharpness of McHugh, I think that actually is just the way them boys play. I see athletes all around the country. A couple of lads there, I think, are at the very peak of ability to carry ball. I mean,
yeah.
Shane O'Donnell you couldn't get near him in that first half. And a few times Moore got beyond the defence, and you had the speed of McHugh and Mogan and that. I just think that's the way those lads are. I don't know if they're any further ahead at the minute. I just think that the game now, with those extra wee bit of spaces, when you have their ability to carry ball, Conor Donald did it as well, that they're just, it's such an advantage to fellas like that.
Yeah, I think it's, and just going back to what Tony said there a minute ago, Tony hit the nail on the head there. I think county players the last 10 years, they've been conditioned and programmed just to not to take the shot, to rotate. But that'll take time. The same at club level. It's going to take time. I don't think we'll see the full fruits of these rules until the championship, because it'll take teams a while to get used to it. So it'll be interesting to see. I think there's going to be some big games decided with these 2-pointers later on in the summer. But going back to the Donegal team, I was very impressed with them the last day. The two O'Donnells, they were making incisions. The pace of them. Ryan McHugh was the best player on the field. You could play that man anywhere in the team, I think. You could play him corner forward and he could do serious damage. But I think the new rules, it'll also help the intelligent footballers knowing when to kick the ball. Like McHugh seemed to know where the ball was going to be all the time. You can coach that sometimes, okay? So, it's very well and say, oh, you're going to kick these points, but it's the transition as well. And as you said, Brian McHugh has been doing this for years, but was at the top of his game the last day. But Jim McGuinness is a great coach. He's very detailed. He has these boys going very well at the moment. And I even said at the start of the year, I think they're going to have a big year.
Yeah, let's hope so. Fernie, I like it. Fernie, Shane Ryan, he came out the pitch quite a bit. And almost created. We got involved a bit. He nearly created an overload. He did maybe one of the attacks. Does he play out the field for his club a bit? Does he?
Yeah, funny enough, I was talking to a man about this yesterday. Shane got on a lot of ball. I've seen him kick points for his club at full forward. So I think Kerry are going to have to explore something further there with Shane, because like that, you're going back to being programmed. Maybe if there was a thing in Kerry before, the crowd would be roaring at the keeper if he went beyond the 30-yard line. But going forward, I'd like to see it explored more, where he takes a bit more responsibility and where he's the one to take the 2-pointer. We'll see how that develops. But yeah, I'm hoping to expect more from him.
And Tony, where do you lie on the keeper thing? Like, it seems to be something like I think the FRC need to get a hold of. No one seems to like it. And of course, we've got Ethan Rafferty coming now at the weekend. This is going to be another serious proposition where you get the 12v11, which everybody in GA seems to be complaining about. Yeah,
Brendan, it's one of the rules that I wouldn't agree with. I keep asking the question: why can a goalkeeper not do what a goalkeeper should do? Is keep goals? We seen a wee bit of it in the end of the Dublin match where Sean Patton came up and we kept the ball for maybe the last 2 or 3 minutes to kill off the game. Listen, it worked our advantage that evening, but to me, it's still a bit of an unfair advantage. Especially when you have a keeper like the likes of Niall Morgan or a Rory Began, there's 3 or 4 that play out the field for their clubs and the playing goal for their county. To me personally, I genuinely think that the keeper shouldn't be allowed outside the 21. He's there to take his kickouts. He's there to stop goals it's one of the rules. It's one of the rules that, because I think all the rules, and to be fair, listen, I'm in favour of the majority of the rules. They're all really in favour of the attacking team, and as a former attacker, it's great. Now, the other one that I'm not overly keen on is the mark, where if you take a mark inside the 21 that you can actually play on. I've no issue with play on, but if you're the forward and you take a chance, you play on, and the keeper saves if you miss it. To me, you shouldn't be given the second advantage of being fit to kick it over the bar. To me, you either take the mark and you kick it over the bar, or if you take it on and the keeper or the defender makes a great block. Why penalise them twice? But going back to the keeper, I definitely think that's one that the rules committee will have to take a serious look at. And I think they were meeting this weekend, but I haven't heard anything back. They might let it run for another couple of weeks, but to me, then I would be keeping the goalkeeper back. Yeah,
100%. Mike Frank, are you all right for time there? I know you had a bit of lifting and laying to do.
Yeah, I just give me another minute there, Brendan. Yeah,
Mike. Do you know what? A quick one for you, Cian O'Neill. What's the word down there? Obviously, highly sought after coach, Galway. Listen, he's playing Galway this year. He'll certainly have done inside tracking them. But will he be a good addition to the Kerry boys?
Yeah, like I suppose inter-county training now, Brendan, it's very hard to get any information out of the camps, as you know, this seems to be very top secret. But yeah, Keane is brought in. Obviously, Jack is a cute operator, so obviously Jack rates him. So he went after the best. So yeah, he's been around the block. He's been to All Ireland finals with Galway. So obviously he has the experience. So obviously he's getting to know the players now in these first couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. See, can he bring something different to the table? But overall, just speaking of the rules, there, I like the rules. I think something had to be done, and I think it's positive. And I probably have my forwards hat on my head here now, but I think it's positive, and I think it's good for the game going forward. And we'll see if they'll. From what I gather, a lot of the rules are going to be staying, I think. But the goalkeeping one is an interesting one, yeah. It's all about with managers now finding that extra edge, that 1% that'll get them over the line.
Yeah, if you're from Monaghan, Armagh or Tyrone, you're happy enough. For everybody else,
Yeah.
I think you're not too sure. Listen,
Yeah.
Franny, I'll let you go there. I know
Thanks,
you had
guys.
to pick one of your kids up. Fair play to you. Great to
Thanks,
talk.
Brendan. Thanks, Tony. See you, Tony.
All right, Mike.
Top man, Mike Frank Russell there. I'll tell you what, giving that man more rules and more space, he'd do some damage. What a player he was. Tony, just from our own perspective there, the kickouts, it's, to me, when Donegal hit their purple patch, particularly in that second half, I think we won about 5 kickouts in a row, either end of the pitch, and it really was the difference. You won the kickout, most of it is through breaking ball. There was an odd high fielding. There was a massive kickout from Patton, one of the old style booms that actually took everybody out of the game. What a kick that was in the second half, and led to a score as well. But what we're going to need, the likes of Jason McGee in there, Langan, obviously get him back. I mentioned to Jim actually in an interview, is it somewhere that you could see Michael Murphy being played for just that physical strength out there in terms of winning ball, because it is the key to the game as I see it at the minute, Tony.
Yeah, 100%, Benny. The short kick out is nearly a non-runner, and because the first 2 players are staying up, so they're putting a press, and then the opposition are putting a full press on. So to me, the first thing you need is you need a very good keeper, and I managed to see a bit of I think Jared McGrenn at fair played him was Facebooking it live, and I seen the last 10 minutes, and I think it was after Kerry got the goal, but Sean Patton kicked a kick out up along the stand side, Benny, that must have went 70 yards, cleared everyone, and I think we got a score, and he kicked another one to the opposite side of the pitch when we were under pressure. Now I know, going by the commentary, Sean was under a wee bit of pressure against the breeze, but every keeper's going to be under pressure because a lot of the kicks are to go long, and you're going to need, and I think that's why Galway are going quite well at the minute, because they've got a lot of big men out around that middle third, and it's imperative that hopefully Michael's hamstring injury is not too bad, but it's imperative that we get Jason McGee back, because he is. Listen, he's your go-to man for kick-outs and that. Listen, we're lucky to have Kieran Thompson. I know Keelan took off a couple of big fetches as well. But I think it's a good part of the game, because the buzzword now, it creates a bit of chaos, which is great, and listen, it's nearly more important, Benny, that you have good ball owners out there that thrive on breaking ball, and thankfully, we have the likes of Ryan, and you have Pather, and you have Shane O'Donnell that that can pick up that breaking ball at pace, and straight away, you're on the attack. So, listen, I genuinely think, and I remember listening to Niall Morgan a couple of weeks ago. He was on another show, and Niall Morgan, even though he played in the first game a lot out the field, he thinks there's, as the summer developed and the pitch gets harder, there's going to be a lot more for the keepers to do, and as regards saving goals, Yeah. So he thinks that it'll develop, that the keepers will eventually stay back the field a lot more as the game gets a wee bit quicker. But I think everyone is still, all managers are still trying to find their feet with it. The players are trying to find their feet. The supporters are trying to find their feet with the new rules. But the start of it's been great. And you can see by the scores that have been put up. And Division 1, even those big scores, there's not a lot between the teams, and it's great to see, and it's definitely made it more exciting.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, it's early days, and the rules have been brilliant. My fear is just, if you have big men out around the middle and you have a goalkeeper who can potentially play out the pitch, you have such a massive advantage. But listen, we'll all get used to it as it goes on. Tony, listen, brilliant stuff as ever. Last question to you, just Armagh coming to town, All Ireland champions, huge rivalry from last season where we were able to get the better of them. How do you think this is up a few notches from the Dublin and Kerry challenge?
It probably is, Benny, because as we know, all Ulster games, whether they're in Championship or whether they're in their league, they take on a bit of a life of their own. And Armagh, listen, they're going to thrive. Their supporters are going to thrive coming into Ballyfree as All-Ireland champions, and expecting us to be praising them. But listen, a lot could depend. I think Jim's definitely going to be in a happy place. After having 4 points. 4 points in the bag, obviously we'll probably lose Michael Langan. Now, whether we'll see Michael Murphy, which would give the whole thing a great lift. Armagh definitely want to put down a marker, because obviously we beat them. We beat them in the Ulster final last year. We beat them in the league final, and we drew with them away. So I think Armagh would like to think, to dispel that we're a bit of a bogey team for them, and they'd like to do that in a league match. But listen, I would hope that Balmafay, our home advantage, will count for a lot, and it'll be great to be sitting on Sunday evening with 6 points on the board.
Yeah. It'd be a big difference, that, Tony, though, really. It's a very, very tight division. Like, every game's tight. At the minute we've went away, won the Kerry, we have the 4 points, but you don't want to think, we're doing well here. Like, this is a vital one. Like, you got to win your home matches, because say lose the next away one, next thing you're under huge pressure. So it still is one of those ones where we got to come out and set the tempo.
Oh, absolutely. And Jim will, be under no illusion, Jim will want to set down a marker to the current All-Ireland champions. But you're right, you're 4 points, you're sitting in a good place, but all of a sudden, if you lose at home and the next thing you're away, is it to Galway the following week, and you don't pick up points there, all of a sudden then, and the teams below you pick up some points, you're back. I think what Jim, I'm not so sure, and it'd be very interesting to pick his brains. Is Jim interested in being a league final? I don't think many of the Division 1 managers are, but the one thing they don't want to be, Benny, is involved in a relegation battle. That you're going into your last round of fixtures, or your last 2 round of fixtures, having to pick up points to stay out of a relegation battle. If we get enough points and you find yourself in a league final, unfortunately it's a week before Championship. But then again, you can't beat a bit of momentum and that one and feeling going into Championship. I'm not sure what Jim thinking about that, but he's definitely going to want to pick up points at home, because listen, we have Derry in the Championship at home, and we want to keep that record in Balmafay. So Jim will be going all out to get 6 points, and after Sunday, if we have 6 points, then we're in a real good position for Jim, probably to give him a chance to look at other players, maybe rest a few players, and you're in a lot better position. Whereas if Armagh come into Balmafay and beat you, and the next thing you're away to Galway and you lose that, you're back to square one, and you're chasing points going into the last couple of rounds, and you're definitely you don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, 100%, Tony. Thanks as ever. Maybe Dublin and Kerry, the only teams that want to be in there because they're handy provincials, and I could say that now. Mike Frank's gone now, but Tony, listen, as ever, my man, 92 hero, and one of my own, Tony Boyle. Thanks for joining us here in the DL Bait, folks. After the break, we're going to speak with 2 of our top refs, Mark Dorrian and Enda McFeely. Back after this.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's kitchen, and there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Being a Garda will change your life. I often hear my friends who have normal jobs complaining about going to work. I love what I do, and I think most Gardaí are the same. You're just not allowed to get bored. I've done the job for 30 years and had 20 different roles, each time learning something new. I've been a coach and mentor. I've managed high-risk undercover operations. I've walked the beat and developed protocols for dealing with cyberbullying, which is saving lives right across Ireland today. I'm currently involved in extraditing dangerous criminals who pose a risk to our communities. Being a Garda is a really tough job, but it's definitely a job worth doing. You can apply now at publicjobs.ie.
Right now, at B&Q, painting just got cheaper. Save big on brands like Dulux and Lick. With incredible savings across selected interior paint, you can transform your space for less. Shop in store or online at DIY.ie. Hurry, ends 3rd of March. You can do it when you B&Q it. Subject to availability. See DIY.ie for details.
Valentine's Day is almost here. Still looking for the perfect treat for your special someone? Make this day unforgettable with a gift from Pandora. Don't wait until the last minute. Visit us now in store and online at pandora.net to find the perfect symbol of love.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, folks, welcome back. So all the GA chat round the country is about the 7 new rules, but of course there's a lot more new rules for that if you're a man in the middle. And we've got two of our main men in the middle now. We've got Mark Dorrian and Enda McFeely. How are you this evening, lads?
Good, Brendan, yeah.
Is all right there? Have you got your
fine, yeah.
Have you got your whistle ready if I say something out of order here?
No, cards only, Brendan, for you.
I did pick up an odd yellow. Would you believe I was only sent off once in my life, and that was an either code, and listen, I'm not going to that because it ended very badly for me, so I don't know why I brought that one up. Lads, tell me, I'm fascinated to know what you have made in these early days of the rules. Mark, you've been out and about doing games. What have you taken in from the officiating side of these things?
The games are a lot quicker, a lot more speed in them. The solo and goal seems to be a big one that has come out of the 7 new rules. You can see a lot of teams are using it, and it has sped up the play. Teams don't want to hang about anymore. They want to get going. They don't want to be waiting and looking up. They're just getting the ball, go, and that seems to be the big one out of the whole lot of them.
Mm. And what about you? And listen, we could talk for hours about all the rules and that, but for you personally, what have you seen, and how has it been for you, like interacting with the rules? Has it been something that is hard to get your head around, or is it fine? You find your feet with it?
Well, as Mark said, the game has sped up something serious, so the fitness levels has to go up, which is grand. It's fine. You work on it. You get over that. You get over the hurdles. New rules come in. You can fret about it. You can dig deep into it. You can overanalyze everything. At the end of the day, you have to do your job. You have to learn them. I find it easier when you go out onto the pitch. Things kind of come naturally to you. So, as overviewing the rules, I wouldn't dig into it too much. As well, at under county level anyway, teams tend to have figured out the rules. Well, probably quicker than the referees actually, but we're constantly learning. Things are going well at the minute, so hopefully it continues the way it is.
Yeah, and Mark, tell me, when I spoke to you previously, just as the rules were coming in, you were telling me that they had to be it was just black and white. That was it. But we're hearing stories of people maybe being coached a small bit, particularly around, say, the 3-1 the players coming back over the halfway indiscretion. There's been some warnings out there. Is that the way? Is that just referees or officials taking it on board to try, in the nature of the game, to do that, or is that something that's been put out there between the refs?
No, I would say it's probably the referees taking it on board themselves to try it out. Like, you don't want to be there blowing up for a fella putting a foot across the line or something like that there. It hasn't come from Croke Park or anything like that there that to give the warnings. There's been none of that there sent out. But I think it's just referees taking the initiative themselves and saying, look, if you put a foot over the line, we'll shout over at you and give you a warning to get back. But from what I've seen, a lot of the benches are looking after that even themselves. I've seen in a couple of games that I've been involved in where a player is coming at full speed towards it, and the shout comes from the bench, and they soon stop. We have there's been a few instances of it breaching of the rule, but not as much as what people probably thought there would be. With all the changes that have come in.
It's a thing, Mark, that the players on the pitch aren't allowed to highlight it to you guys. That's not allowed.
I wouldn't say it's not allowed. I suppose we have a lot in our minds at the time. Like, even as linesmen, you're trying to you have to scan the pitches, and you're looking for stuff that's happening off the ball, and you're scanning around to see is there anyone breaching the 3v3. So people will bring it to your attention between the crowds, the spectators, and everything else. It'll be brought to your attention fairly quick if there is somebody breaching the rule. I honestly don't think anyone, if there's somebody breaching it and you're told, you'll look up fairly quick and you'll see it. Yeah,
but at the weekend there, Finbar Rorty, who had a brilliant game again for Donegal, cornerback there, he was all over the pitch, but I think he came very close to it, but it was the Kerry fans by shouting, I think, warned him. You could see him, he kind of stepped back, so they were trying to bring it the ref's attention, but I think they stopped him stepping across the line. But just on the rules, and David Goff came out with a very hard-hitting interview there last week, just saying there was a lot of mixed messages from people, from the FRC through the refs, James Horn, even former referees manager Patrick Doherty, Jim Gavin himself. He was saying that there was mixed messages. Is that something that you've been aware of, or is that just really kind of small parts of so many rules that have come down?
I think, to be honest with you, as you say, small parts of the rules that have come down. There is mixed messages as in different scenarios, but we have actually had a document very early on perceiving the rules. Obviously, it's not an official document. Well, it's official as from Croke Park, but it's not signed under the official guide part 2. We're well aware of the rules from early on. I think that everybody's reading too much into the situation where what's happened here as the rules, what's been put forward. I think really, as a referee, we have to go by what we're given. And we are given a document, so we're fairly clear on the rules at the minute, is all I can say on it, Brendan.
Yeah. And Mark, do you think, Mark, there was enough, I suppose, interaction with referees on this? It seemed to be something that David said there should have been more. It's as if, the understanding that. I know the likes of, Patrick Doherty should have been well up on that if he was involved in the process. But do you think that's something that the FRC should have came to all you guys and talked you through the rules? Because at the end of the day, you have a much better understanding and a very different way of looking at it compared with, say, ex-players.
Yeah, but look, I suppose everyone would want more time at looking at them, but you have to understand the FRC were extremely busy as well. We had highlighted issues before Christmas, just shortly, even before Congress and shortly after Congress as well. It took them a while to get those changes ratified from the Central Council. But look, we've met with Jim Gavin, I'm going to say 5 or 6 times. He's extremely good with his time, coming on late at night during the week and stuff like that there after finishing meetings with other county boards and referees around the country, club referees and stuff like that there. But look, you had to take the initiative ourselves and read over the rules and understand them for ourselves. And you just take whatever wee points that the FRC and the likes of that are giving you,
Good man. And do you think it's just the nature of things where, I looked at that first night, the Sunday game, and Kieran Whelan was having a cut at, what do you call your man from Kerry? And he was on the board, and it looked as if he was having to defend. He was on as kind of a pundit, and then he was trying to defend. And of course, there's going to be loads of, as Mark was saying, small wee areas where it's maybe something that still needs to be fixed or tidied up. But is it natural that people try and highlight the bad things in it instead of looking to the good things? Do you get that feeling from it?
Well, I think that's more of an Irish thing, to be honest, is to look on the negative side rather than the positive side, to be honest with you. I think, to be honest, as Mark said, the FRC have been very busy. They've brought on a set of rules that people weren't happy with, as again, it's an Irish thing. I think, to be honest, the rules are working very, very well. The FRC brought in the rules. Obviously, maybe they didn't go through the rule book, reading every individual rule. The problem is, the warden has had to be changed on a few things to suit the referees, if you know what I mean. The referees know the rule book fairly well, as they say, and they pick up things that the FRC haven't. But in general, I think the rules that have come in has been very beneficial and are going to be extra beneficial going forward now into the summertime. That's it, Graham.
Yeah. Well, listen, Eamon Fitzmaurice was the player I was trying to think of. I was a wee bit late last night, lads. That's what happens when you don't go to bed on a Sunday night. You lose a few brain cells. Now, right, Joe Dex laughing at me here. That's
all right. That's all right when you're 20, Brent, but not when you're our age now.
Well, hey, now that you're up in the fitness, you and Mark, you need to be in bed early, boys. Up in the morning. I can see you 2 years like Rocky there, taking the broken egg into the cup, pint in the morning, way out the door, 6:30.
not this weekend.
No,
Mark,
definitely not.
Mark, is a key there with this, Mark, and we talk about this generally with refereeing, and I've had you guys on before, and I think it's very important. Is it now more than ever the patience the key here as we get into these rules, that instead of people looking to trying to pull out a wee negative from Rule 25 scenario, that we should be looking at the higher scoring in the game and the faster game and having a wee bit of like patience or understanding that our game's going to get better. It's in the middle of an evolution, and for everybody to be a wee bit cool and calm. Maybe that's me. When it comes to championship, that could be different, Mark, you know.
Definitely, like you can see there from like we've only had 2 rounds of the league played, and even with the 2 rounds, there has been a massive improvement compared to your 15 behind the ball and the ball going over and across the pitch. There's been a massive improvement, high scoring. The game's faster. Like obviously, there's going to be wee niggles that'll need to be figured out, and I don't think it's going to happen until the end of the league. I wouldn't think that they want to see 7 competitive games that you can judge it off properly rather than 1 or 2 and get rid of something. I think they've vastly improved the game of football compared to what we were watching last year.
Yeah. And tell me, Enda,
Brent, can I just come on that a wee second?
Go ahead.
I was actually talking earlier. We actually had a meeting in Abbottstown at the weekend, a fitness. We had a training session and meeting, and just for your listeners there that are interested, to prove that the rules actually are working, the statistics are there that there was over, say, 400 frees given in the first 2 rounds of the league last year, and just over 400 given in the first 2 rounds of the league this year. But red cards, yellow cards, and black cards have half the numbers. Partly down to the fact that the game is moving that quickly that players can't get involved with other players, or else you're caught out, you're costing your team a point or a goal or whatever. So, as I say, if people just give it time, give the referees time, as we're learning as well, we'll gladly explain to anybody that we can to. Give the rules time, and the game will definitely benefit from it.
Isn't that an amazing stat, Mark? So really what's happening is we're getting more open play, and that negative kind of entrenched nature where teams were stopping teams playing and the solo and go, and if you stop a guy, you don't give him the ball back. There's all these indiscretions. They're really aimed by the FRC to cut out the underlying negative play was in the game. So without that, even as Enda's talking there, people aren't really talking about that, and they should be, because that's the side we need to come from the game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and them little small stats they got there just go to show that they have improved the game already, and we're only at the start of it. No doubt the FRC are looking at every single rule, every single week, and every stat that is out there that's possible. And like, there's no better people to be in the room than the likes of Jim Gavin and Eamon Fitzmaurice and that, who have managed at the top level. And they're going to get it right. You would hope that they would get it right anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And on this, you mentioned just you're handed the rules, you'll learn the rules. Is as a referees in there, is there a way to input back? I know I do a podcast there with Colin Parkinson, Smaller Fish, and we had a survey on the with the extended panel for all the people that pay for the show, and he sent that down to Eamon Fitzmaurice because it was some feedback on, say, some of the rules that need to be tweaked. Is that something that's coming back to you guys, or is it basically there's a rule book out, boys, away we go? Is there an avenue for you guys to come back and critique it a bit?
Well, at national level there is. I'll tell you why, Brendan. We met last weekend, and we will meet after round 5 of the National League. The FRC, in fairness to them, they're a group of lads that know what they're talking about. In fairness, you have Jim Gavin, James Horn, Eamon Fitzmaurice, etc. They all know what they're talking about. So they value the referees' input as well. So we go back to them in a meeting, say as I say, last weekend, the 5th round, after the 5th round National League games. And if there's tweaks, if they think something's working or something's not working, they're willing to tweak it. They want to see the referee's perspective on it. And if they think something has to be tweaked, they're willing to listen. It's not as if here's the rule book, go do what you have to do. That's not the way it is. Everybody up there is trying to work to provide a better spectacle for the paying spectators that go and watch our games. and credit has to be given to the FRC for that. So I just hope that people don't think that it's just there's a rule book and there you go. That's not the way it is.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Enda. That's very important. Mark, just we're down to the last few minutes of the interviews here. Tell me, the thing that's thrown at me with every single GA conversation that I talk to you about the new rules, the last question is about the club. What about the club? What about the club ref? As you're seeing it now, Mark, can you imagine now one man handling everything? Is that going to be a difficult scenario come the club season?
It probably is going to be a difficult scenario for one person, especially with the 3v3 inside. Now we're meeting with as a group of Donegal referees next Monday and the Monday after to update the club referees and the rules and stuff like that there. And it's going to be difficult as one person. Like at national level there, we have yourself as a referee, 2 linesmen, a 4th official and 4 umpires. And you're not going to have that coming into a league game in Donegal. You know, you're going to be one man standing there. You might bring an umpire, you might not. It's going to be difficult. But I think the only one that's going to be difficult is the 3v3. As a single person there, you're just not going to. I'm going to say you're not going to be able to turn around and miss something that's happening on the ball to look for a 3v3 breach. It's going to be difficult, and there's no doubt about it. And we have highlighted that at national level as well, with Jim Gavin and the FRC, that it is going to be difficult for club referees. And
Enda, what is stopping a second man, at least, that you trust and know coming with you? Is it a financial thing? Is it a time frame thing? Could there not be something written in that the GA just has to put out extra, I know it's not huge money or anything, but put out that extra bit of money for an official to at least have one more man that's either going to be there on the line or be one of his umpires or be at the other side of the pitch or be somewhere that can help him? Do you think that's something that could happen, or is that not possible?
Oh, it's very much possible, Brendan. It's not going to come from Croke Park. It's going to come from the individual county boards. Now, for like Donegal, club football is seen as one of the brightest maybe in the country. So we have to keep that to a certain standard, I think. So in order to do that, I think for the new rules to progress, personally, I think that the county board maybe have to look at maybe sending a second official. Well, what have been a 4th official would now be a second official just to go to the game as well to watch the 3-on-3, because as Mark said, the referee can watch everything else, but the 3-on-3 is going to be very difficult. So financially, listen, it's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? Like you're going to a game to try and make it a spectacle. So that's something we have to look at, is to have a second official on board, in every game.
Yeah, very good. Lads, as ever, thanks so much for that wrap up, lads. Fair play to you, and we'll be speaking to you as the year go on. If you don't mind coming in, sure, and updating us how things are, it'd be great to hear from you again.
No problem at all, Brendan.
No problem. Anytime, Brendan. Yeah.
Cheers, man. Thanks, Mark Dorrian and Enda McFeely there. Much appreciated. I'll chat to you after this break.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Shannon Airport has officially been voted Ireland's favourite airport.
Which was great to hear. Mind you, we've actually always thought we had handy parking, famously short queues, a great bunch of people, seamless security, and a list of amazing destinations to fly to. So really, it's just nice to know everybody else agrees. Officially Ireland's favourite airport. You can't really argue with that. Shannon Airport. Making it easy.
Making the move away from diesel? Don't get confused. Get excited at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Experience the power of choice. From our unrivaled hybrid range with no plugging in, to plug-in hybrids and the fully electric BZ4X, we have the right car for you. With incredible offers, including power-up boosters of up to €2,500, make the move at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, folks, welcome back. Well, after the match in Killarney on Saturday, I caught up with a very happy Jim McGuinness. Jim, back-to-back victories in opening National League. It's been a fantastic start. Very few victories down here in Killarney, but you came through.
No, definitely. I think Kieran said there maybe it was 1988 since the last time Donegal won down here. So that's a long time, but no, happy, Brendan. Obviously, still a good bit to work on there. At this time of year, you would expect that. You're trying to put things together and build bits and pieces of the game plan and personnel and give people exposures and all that there. But you know what you're going to get. They're going to come at some stage, and they did, and the crowd was behind them, and they got the goal and all that. So it was fantastic that they were able to kind of hold the head, a bit like last weekend as well, hold the head and see it through and get the scores when they were needed. And gives us a wee bit of room now. So it does 4 points on the board and still 5 games to go. Gives us a wee bit of. If you have no points on the board, it's not a nice place to be. And it was well signposted that this Division 1 was going to be seriously competitive, and it's playing out that way, and the best teams in the country are in it. So we have to, I suppose, on the one hand, sort of enjoy that and take as much out of these games as we can heading into the summer. Yeah, so many talking points in it, Jim. It's gone through the roof in terms of the dynamics of the game, but the huge thing is the kickouts. At times we were losing our own, we were losing theirs. Then we go through a phase where we were dominating the kick out. Basically, whoever wins it, more than likely is getting the shot away, and it is the huge aspect of the game. Massive, Brendan, massive. And it's probably sitting in at 50% at the moment for most teams, and the teams that are getting to 60 are doing well in the game. So listen. It's definitely, I suppose, it's an area that all the teams in the country will be looking at to see how they can make strides to try and retain possession, because it's very much 50-50, and it's a bit like the hurling, it just leaves that moment when the ball goes into the sky. Anything could happen, and we're seeing that. And then coming down the stretch in particular, fellas haven't got the energy levels to get back in, and there's going to be bloody noses. There is going to be bloody noses. There's going to be teams, beaten at the death this season, without a shadow of a doubt. It could have been us today, but we managed to find a way. But that's definitely going to happen. Yeah, and obviously losing Michael Langan, big blow at the start, Jim. Obviously Jason McGee was your main man in the air, the one fetch ball under pressure last year. Hopefully see him back. The way the game's played, Jim, the ball isn't going inside the way people kind of thought it would. Would it be more a role possibly when Michael comes back, that he could be a target for kickouts out there with the physicality? That's going to be very hard to do now if he's taking the kick out, Brendan. You got me there. Even Michael Murphy would find that difficult, catch his own kick out. Well, if any man could do that, it's Michael. Kick it up high enough. But Jim, you mentioned just a game. You could see in the Dublin game last week too, where there's a lull, kind of maybe between 12 and 15 minutes to go, because just the fatigue of players going up and down the pitch. So subs coming in. I know obviously Ryan McHugh, fast playing pitch here today, had a phenomenal game, but Jimmy Brennan coming in and the contribution that he made off the bench as well, and we had it from Patrick McBurney last week. Those are the differences, Jim, when you have that sprinkling of dynamic play to come in. It's huge. It is huge. Yep, that's it, folks. That was Jim McGuinness there, the last minute of that. If you want to hear it, you hear it on highlandradio.com. We're out of time here. I want to thank Joe. Stay tuned for the excellent Monday night sessions. I'll speak to you all next week.
Check this.